Cairo's back. He went to drink a protein shake real quick and come back. Do some pumps, get some dips in, Cairo. Get some dips in. You might have got a dip or two. He's on mute. You're on mute.
He's on the mute. He's on the mute.
I just gotta say something real quick.
What's up, Joe?
I'm Fast Abdul, and I approve this message.
He's just here for the tech, man.
Indeed.
He's just here for the tech.
How are you guys? Thanks, RHMax, for hosting it.
Welcome back, man. Welcome, Rodrigo, too. Yeah, I want to hear.
Yeah, guys, am I audible here? Is my mic working?
You're very audible, sir.
Good.
Okay, good. It was not cooperating earlier.
It's all right.
It's
I want to
hear.
Real quick, Rodrigo, before we get into the panel too, I want to hear, because you mentioned before you did the talk on the options and stuff, and you said you were from Guatemala. I'm always curious when I hear Hexicans all over the world do all this. How did you get into Hex? How'd you find this place?
I have a friend from school that he introduced me to Hex. I think he joined just before the adoption amplifier, just before it ended, and I started researching Richard. I watched all his YouTube videos, and I was like, all right, there is something here, and I've been buying ever since. And for the last 3 years almost, I've been working at an option structured product desk. So we do options from any token going from Bitcoin all the way to almost 1,000 market cap. And what tokens we don't do yet? Anything RH. And that's why I'm here. I want to push this. I want everyone in finance to be able to trade options for Hex, because we're not available yet. And the only thing we need is a perpetual contract.
You guys do futures? Do you guys do futures too?
We do all derivatives. So we do perpetuals, futures, options, and structured products.
Oh wow, yeah, that's what I've been pushing for that too. So definitely shoot me a message and let's see what we can get done.
Let's do it. So I mean, the tech is built, and there's a few trading desks in the US and in other countries that do it. But the only thing we need to manage risk is a perpetual contract.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty excited.
What does a perpetual contract look like? What does it do?
So a perpetual contract just gives you it just makes you available to buy or sell without owning the asset. And it also lets you use leverage if you want. You don't have to, but you could just essentially just short Hex or just long Hex.
Which is already an option. Like there are options too, short and long Hex.
You can do it on chain, but no institutions do it on chain. Everything's done through centralized exchanges, and there's barely any volume or liquidity. If so you get
Oh, sorry.
No, so let's say we get it on a Tier1 exchange. And there's more than a couple $1 million of volume a day, then you're able to create options around it. And with the volatility that Hex has, which is over 100%, let's say 30-day vol, the premiums on options could be super interesting. Yeah. I'll give you an example. Ethereum has around 65% vol right now, which is like more than double what Bitcoin has. And if you do a simple covered call on ETH, you could make 30% a year just by selling calls. Now imagine what could happen with Hex. Like staking would be something of the past with this. Or you could do it in tandem with it.
Yeah, supplemental.
Mm. And you could also, like the main reason I'm pushing this is because whales don't have to sell down the price with using options. You could just collect yield on both sides with calls and with puts. And then you could also protect your portfolio. Because when there's a cascade, like we just saw, everyone started selling. But if you could be able to buy puts or do risk reversals with puts and calls, then price wouldn't be as volatile.
Yeah. I say the same thing with like V3 and yield farming. It's similar to staking, but you know, you're producing yield from holding an asset that you don't have to sell.
Who would be handling the exercise of those options if they were chosen to be exercised?
So market makers take the other side that you do. So let's say you sell a call, you're essentially short, but the market maker's long. So they have to hedge that risk internally
Okay.
with those perpetuals.
That's what I was gonna ask. So you're talking centralized. So you would have market makers and liquidity providers.
Right.
Got you.
But we have this for any token. Like you go on CoinMarketCap and every single token has perpetuals, but we don't have them.
Yeah, that's what I've been pushing for, because everybody essentially has exposure to that, except, I mean, we have it on chain, like Abdul said, but like in terms of like the exchange exposure, even just on spot, we don't have it. But you know, then branching out from that to the options and the perpetuals, it's like that there's so much room for volume and onboarding there, in my opinion. And like I've been talking to all my exchange contacts. Like I have contacts at Bybit, Femex. Like I worked for all of them before, so like I've been trying to get them in. The major thing in the past was the SEC. Now that that's gone, I've resumed my my promotion of trying to do this, but thus far I haven't gotten far. I've had some good
What kind of
conversations.
reception are you getting? Like, what are they saying?
So Shillgates, if you already have these contacts, let's push internally how to get them on the Tier1 exchange you mentioned. And
Yeah.
the only thing we need is for the community as a whole to get this listing. We just need to pay for it.
There's two we can talk about it right now. There's two problems, right? The main problem is most of these exchanges charge a listing fee and Richard's not going to pay it. So then we get to, okay, are we going to fundraise this? Like, how's that going to work? But beyond that, the other problem is HEX and PulseChain have been listed on exchanges and nobody traded them there. Like from the community, everybody stayed on PulseX, all that. So a lot of these exchanges, when they look at the past numbers, they're like, this wouldn't even make sense for us to list because we wouldn't get any traders and volume.
Well, it wasn't on the larger ones.
Well, it was on Maxi and what was the other one? OKX.
OKX listed it, but not just on spot. They didn't have the
yeah. There was no derivatives, but it was the
Might
spot
be the key.
was like,
if they had derivatives, maybe they would get the volume they want.
yeah. We could, like, here's the thing, like it sucks to say, but like these coins go down a lot, and I've always kind of wanted to be able to short them because I expect them to go down at times. So it's like not having that, but other people that hate on HEX could short HEX. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I'm not hating on it. It's what I've seen from the time that I've been here. Like it's gone down more than it's gone up. But why? Like the whole beauty of futures and stuff like that is to be able to make money both ways.
You see, that's what I kind of want too.
There's actually a video of Richard. Oh, sorry, I'm interrupting.
I was just gonna say, like, that's kind of what I want too, is to have the option of a short call available on HEX, so that when I'm arguing with a hater, I can just be like, hey, why don't you just put your money where your mouth is and just buy this short or sell a call here on HEX, and then we go on our channels and we tell our audiences, hey, we just got a hater to short it here. Let's all buy it and get him liquidated. So that way, not only does he lose out, but his liquidation also helps the price go up.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Or if you really believe in it.
Richard speaking about that, we need people to be able to short HEX, but he said it has to be on chain. But I don't think
which
so.
is done to be clear. Everywhere. Like you can short HEX on chain using fame.io.
Yeah, but there's barely any liquidity.
Plug.
So,
but yeah, I think the one issue that we run into with that's all well and good for all of us because we're essentially native to this ecosystem at this point. But for the outsider that is trading on Bybit or Femex and doesn't really come around these trenches, like I feel like us not being exposed to them is, I don't want to say holding us back, but it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, well, I agree. Like advertising on centralized exchanges is like for advertising alone, it would be worth being on one of the major ones. It has to be a major one though to really have an effect. Like we've tried OKX, MEXC. Like we need to move to the next tier.
Yeah.
Well, OKX could work perfectly. I don't want to name names. We were already there. Like it doesn't have to be as hard to get in there. And it's not only like professionals. Like the fact that Hex would have a perpetual and have options available out there, either OTC or public, it shows a strength in the market that we're a serious and mature asset, not just on our own little chain that barely anyone uses.
And what kind of people are noticing that, right? Like who would take note?
Well, I could tell you we work with VCs, foundations, miners, high net worth individuals that they play around wherever the volatility is. If there's high vol on any asset that's moving, they'll play with it.
Yeah, that's where the money's made.
Like, what
So
I'd be doing with this is if you got short puts available on the asset, well, that's something that I'd be marketing all across the board right there, because a short put is kind of a no lose scenario there. I mean, if it's an asset that you want to own anyway, great.
You just buy it at a discount. Right.
You get the opportunity to exercise the put, but if it never goes to your put price, well, you get a little bit of income from the options premium. So there's no way to lose there. And if we got short puts here on this, well, this is a great thing for like the whole Hexagon community to like, even if you don't end up owning the asset and it doesn't make the money that you want to make right away here, this is an opportunity for you to either get more Hex or get a little bit of money waiting to buy the Hex for if they like hit a price you want to buy it at. So
you called it perfectly. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
You either buy it at discount or you get paid to wait, which is great.
Exactly.
And if people want to speculate, well, they just buy the options outright. Most people make money by selling them, but whatever, like people can trade. And there's the opportunity.
Similar way.
We're almost 6 years into Hex, and we don't have this yet. And Bitcoin had the CME right after 7 years of existing. So we're pretty much on time if we do it in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a lot that's missing, but it's catching up, and that's what I like to see, because like I've been in crypto since 2015, so like I remember when, like you said, Bitcoin was like this, Ethereum was like this. Like I've watched all of them kind of mature and develop into true like assets and markets, and it's like we're still in the early stages where things are getting put in place, and Fast Abdul right here is creating really cool stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like there's people that are building and developing and making all these tools that we want to see, but it just takes time.
Well, it'll happen eventually, but might as well, like you said, like we can build it, or the tech's already built. We just need the availability to do it.
Well, that's one thing like that is kind of frustrating to me, and you know, this isn't negative towards him, but the person that could make all this happen quickly is Richard. You know what I mean? Like he's the figurehead, he's got all the money, he probably has connections with these people even though they don't like each other, but it's like he's so against being listed on exchanges that it's on us. And then you got people like me who actually has contacts, but I don't have the same pool that Richard Hart has.
Well, people say you have to own the actual asset, but they don't understand the way and the whole new level that you could protect yourself. Imagine if we were at 10-cent Hex and you buy puts there, now you would be making millions down here. But this wasn't available up there.
But it's like
we don't have limit orders on PulseX currently, do we?
No, but there's some bots. I got a one Telegram bot. I don't want to plug them. I like getting paid for plugs, but it's there's a couple Telegram bots, and I can tell everybody in the audience as well as you guys, there are some people building some really cool tools on that front that are going to be like web UI front ends that are basically built to trade, like for traders with stuff like limit orders and stuff like that. So I know those are in the
I think we
pipeline.
need
Two
real
different
limit
people.
orders though, and that would be one of the great upgrades to PulseX would be limit
I
orders.
agree.
Because the bots are cool, but like there's an inherent risk in most of those Telegram bots because you
Absolutely.
usually have to feed it a private key from a wallet to make it work. And if you understand what that risk is, you can mitigate it. But you know, for new people, I wouldn't want to invite them in and be like, here's how you trade. You use this bot and not have them really understand the
and
risk.
not comfortable trading size on something like that either, because all the counterparty risk.
Yep. But there is the one that I've used that it seems to work just fine is there's a SolidX trader bot. You can find about it in that Telegram room. That's the only one I know for sure. I know there's others. I'm sure Shillgate says more.
Yeah. The other thing that I was gonna ask you is, and to everybody else here, what do you think Richard's reason for not having V3 is?
Timing.
Timing?
Not
That's
having
it?
V3 yet, right? The technology is not like look at the stuff look at PulseX day one, right? Like it's a fork of Pancake Swap V2 that's missing features, right? Now that and those features have started to show up, but like at a reasonably slow rate. Like we have the curve stable coin pool, right? That showed up. We don't have V3 yet. We don't have limit orders. This is not like crazy high tech stuff, right?
No.
Like
I mean, 9mm and 9-inch both have it.
Totally, yeah. 9-inch is just about the exact same thing as PulseX. It's more or less a fork of the same code. So anything you see there could definitively be on PulseX. I'm positive the devs who developed PulseChain, like deploying like a chain is way harder than deploying like a pancake swap fork. So yeah, those upgrades are for sure not off the table. Like Braytep could probably do it in a weekend. So I think the reason is timing, right? Like we're missing features. All of a sudden the features show up at the perfect time in the market and like off to the races.
On top of that, like Richard is a very
I have a question for you.
Perfectionist. And whatever he does is so additionally scrutinized. Because like remember back before like PulseChain itself came out and PulseX was released and everything, there was a lot of times where we're getting it this week. Oh no, we're not. And like, you know, the test nets, we had like 3 test nets when we were only supposed to have like maybe 2. And it's because like it has to be perfect because you know our haters you'd never hear the end of it from them if there's one little bug in it. And like even when we got off to a little bit of a rocky start on PulseX at first here, and like while we had a V2, man, I'd never heard the end of it from all the haters. They're still saying, "Oh yeah, PulseX was launched with multiple bugs." It's not true. It's not the whole story, but that's what they're going to run with. So they're thinking that if he's going to do a V3 or some sort of enhanced version of PulseX, he's going to make sure that thing is perfect before he lets it out.
There's another component too that I'm sure he was very well aware of, and it's just the nature of V3 liquidity, where you can put up single-sided liquidity. V2, like from a founder perspective, is a great way to launch a token. It provides support on both the sell side and the buy side. With V3, it gives people the opportunity to only provide support on the sell side, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe he didn't want to push that early on as, you know, as a concept. Oh, I want to sell my pulse against DAI. I can just put up the pulse. I don't have to put up the DAI. Whereas with V2, you had to put up the pulse and the DAI, right? And it's a different player that's doing that, probably a more community-minded player. So that must have been part of the decision as well. But going forward, now that there are V3 dexes on PulseChain, which of course took time because he didn't put it there, somebody else had to do it. But it doesn't mean that when he does it, other people won't adopt what he did very quickly. So I think at the right time, he will do so.
Like that's where all the volume is. So like I do V3 every day, but it's like it's not even close to what I can do on Base or Solana or whatever because there's no volume on these third-party exchanges.
Much less.
Yeah. Have you heard about this Liberty Swap bridge that there might be a Solana way soon?
Yeah, they said
like
that's
in
definitely
a couple
happening.
days. Coming up right away.
So is
find
that
out.
bridge, like, what's the risk with that bridge? Because I saw it's in like beta, or they're like trying it out. Or what could potentially go wrong there?
It won't have any special risk. Like Solana's a non-EVM chain, right? So like to get things off Solana, you essentially have to move from Solana to Ethereum, or swap from Solana to Ethereum. So that there'll just be more steps than going from base to PulseChain, to go from Solana to PulseChain. But as far as like Liberty Swap, like it's not a bridge. Like it's more of a cross-chain swap. Like they have a pool of liquidity on Pulse that they use to fulfill the orders before the bridge could fulfill the order, and then they're holding the order to get paid in the end, right? So I'm sure with like a non-EVM chain, it would work the exact same way. Their main concern is probably to make sure that they get paid. They have to be able to verify the transaction, and not that it can't be done or that there's special technical difficulties. I'm sure they'll be successful. You can already do the same thing with change now from Solana, right? It's just you can only do like $600 or something, which is not acceptable. So if they're gonna have limits of $7,000, which I believe is their current, or raise that to $10,000 from Solana, fulfilled in under 3 minutes, then they're probably going to want to do some homework. But yeah, I don't have any special concerns.
Yeah, I've always heard that bridges are, and this isn't anything specific to Liberty Swap, but I heard that they're one of the most exploited things in crypto in terms of like the attack vector. That's where it's weakest.
It's not weakest. It's actually, bridges on average are quite strong. It's that it's like a focused attack vector, right? Just like a centralized exchange. You put all your money on a centralized exchange, there's a bunch of money on there. If there's going to be a problem, it's all in one place. And the bridge is kind of like that, except for like Liberty Swap is not a bridge, right? Like they're swapping cross chain. Most of the money flows through the RH bridge in the end. They're just paying the users up front for the money that's sitting on the bridge. That's sort of the main concept. So, for a small fee, they take care of it for you. It's much simpler. But like the Omni bridge fork that the PulseChain uses, like the RH bridge, I call it, like it has an extremely good track record. I don't consider it high risk at all. It'd be one of the lower risk bridges, in crypto. There's never been a hack on, the RH bridge. We can say that with confidence.
Yeah, especially like at the beginning when we were backed up. You remember like when they first launched PulseChain, there was like so much backup. Yeah. It took me like probably 15 hours or so for my money to actually cross over. And it was amazing that we've not had a single issue with that bridge, because that's another thing. If we had an issue, you'd never hear the end of it. You'd hear Ivan on tech going, PulseX! Oh, yes. Oh, how are you guys coping with this? PulseX!
Man, Ivan. But yeah, there's there are still time issues with the bridge. Like if there was a really busy day, like let's say, I don't know, $50 million got deployed on the chain all of a sudden, and lots of people had decided to bridge on, which is something I could see happening. It would still be slow, and that could be mitigated by a team like Liberty Swap upping the amount of like pooled liquidity they have to fulfill orders on PulseChain, so that they would be waiting instead of you. And there could be other things to do to speed up that bridge too. But security is not one of the issues. I would like to see that bridge work from multiple chains, like to bridge directly from base to PulseChain, which would require special liquidity of to accommodate that. But I think there could be the Omni bridge, like that same code is capable of having every EVM on it and not just Ethereum, right?
That's
if
what I
there's
was
liquidity on both sides.
It's like, why isn't that a feature?
Yeah.
Liquidity, probably, it'd be the main thing. Like you'd have to, like, because when you take like let's say you have USDC on base, right? And you want to bridge that to PulseChain, right? Like, because we have USDC from Ethereum on PulseChain. That means someone has to have pooled liquidity for USDC from base on PulseChain for you to swap into, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just creating a token with no liquidity to sell it into. So I think that the focus being on Ethereum makes sense, but like moving further into the bull market, like and you wouldn't need to have every single asset. You could have one stable coin per chain that had a substantial liquidity pool from the top, 5 or 10 chains, and that would do the job, right? Or even another great one would be the gas token from the chains. No, we'll say something not popular this year, but Polygon. You could have wrapped Polygon and PulseChain, and then just like you have ETH from Ethereum, wrapped ETH bridge to PulseChain, you could have wrapped Polygon bridge to PulseChain from Polygon that you could sell into Pulse, right? And that would be, that would really network the chains between each other. Like, I'm going to sell my AVAX on Pulse because it's a better deal. You'd have arbitrage, all kinds of things.
Does anyone remember?
Speaking about different chains and protocols, do you have any contacts on PancakeSwap?
No, Binance hates me. Listen, back in the day, I used to go so hard on CZ, and crypto Twitter was so small back then that he heard everything. I'm blocked on everything, because I used to call them out for all the stuff they used to do. They did a lot of shady stuff back in the day. It's part of the reason why he went to jail. But I'm not here to bash anybody. It's just...
no, seriously. He goes to jail and everything, but the crypto industry rallies behind him, whereas Richard is taking on the SEC single-handedly and actually defeats them, but they all still ostracize him, which makes zero sense to me.
Crazy.
And BNB makes a new all-time high yesterday. But I was mentioning it because PancakeSwap has a lot of different chains. Even Uniswap, but we know what Uniswap thinks about us since they canceled us. But if we can get one of these exchanges to actually list it, or even like Arkham, that's a block explorer, to track PulseChain, that would be big because there's new eyes on the chain.
See, I think Richard himself could probably have luck with Coinbase. I think they would list it. I think Binance, if him and CZ made up, but CZ's not there anymore. But I have contacts. I helped grow Bybit from the ground up. I'm still earning money from my affiliate work that I did for them. I know Ben, the CEO and founder, personally. We used to talk all the time. I used to talk to all those guys. I used to talk to SBF. They were just us. They weren't who they became. So I know a lot of these people. I helped launch Femex too. But I've been reaching out to all these people and just kind of getting stonewalled, and it's not because they don't know me. It's more, I guess, optics, and at the time it was also the SEC case. But I mean, HEX has a really bad reputation. Well, Richard has a really bad reputation, and by extension, HEX.
Well, now that's done. I guess it's just reputation.
Yeah, but it's beyond that. I mean, even Kraken, right? Kraken was always super pro Bitcoin, so they're probably anti-Richard because most of the Bitcoiners ended up hating Richard. And it's a lot of these OGs that run these exchanges and stuff, they're not trying to deal with the backlash of listing something like HEX because they know as soon as they do the listing announcement, even though all of us are going to rush in and be like, wow, it's so awesome, blah, 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 and all the army's going to show up. There's also going to be a lot of pushback calling them scammers, and, so it's been a narrative.
It's just been the timing, but other than that, everything works as it should.
Well, no, we all understand that, but the mainstream narrative in crypto, I came from the mainstream of crypto, so I heard all this shit every day. Is that Richard Hart's a scammer? He's the ultimate con man. And everybody that is bought into HEX and PulseChain is a delusional cult member. That's the mainstream crypto narrative.
Do you think that is what's holding HEX and PulseChain off of exchanges, or is it possible that it's also just because of if they listed these tokens here, I imagine with the other tokens that they list, they have somebody at like, the Ethereum Foundation or the Cardano that they can get a hold of if they want to. But
to a degree,
Rich is not
but I mean, they're
that.
also listing like fart coin and titty coin. So it's like, who's the titty coin CEO?
That's what I was going to.
They want a team that's doxed that they can be in contact with, though. And of course, Richard is not going to dox himself to an exchange.
He's pretty doxed, as far as who is Richard Hart. I think that's established. I think one of the main components that Richard is unlikely to facilitate is these guys want to bribe every single time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, bribe, but like also want to know where he is too, right? So they know how to get a hold of him.
Yeah, not impossible.
Yeah, and I'm sure he does not want that, especially right now. But like even before SEC, before Interpol and everything, he didn't want nothing like that.
And too,
there
are
was going at the beginning.
Huh?
That's where I was going at the beginning. Like every single token in the top 500 has either a perps or a spot listing on any exchange.
That's what I'm saying.
It's barely any volume on that.
It's specifically their hatred of Richard Hart. Like it's nothing else. That's the reason. Let me back that up. It's also Richard's I don't want to say inability. It's his staunch belief to be anti-exchange.
Okay, so if it's just the hatred of Richard Hart, you know how we fix this? Well, we just hire Sydney Sweeney to be the face of PulseChain.
Well, no, it's a two-way street. Like Richard said, "Fuck you" to them, and they said, "Fuck you" to him, and it's like basically they're at a standoff at the OK Corral. Richard doesn't want to be listed on exchanges, and they don't want to list him.
Yeah, that cultural risk that Clay Collins was talking about in the movie. Like if we say F you to the rest of the world, well, we can't be surprised when they turn their back on us.
Like Fast Abdul said, it's a cartel, and they want bribes and they want ass kissing and they want all that, right? You can say that's good or bad, but that's what it is. And Richard isn't willing to play their game, and maybe some of that to the detriment of his own project. But if that's his principle and he's standing on it, I gotta respect it.
The whole ethos of like HEX and PulseChain is kind of like not your keys, not your crypto, right?
Yeah, but there's a whole financial system out there that could just benefit from things like these perpetuals or options, or even get new.
Well, yeah, we all agree, but I think Richard has made his stance very clear that he's very against leverage trading, futures. Like he's been saying this for years.
Yeah, but though he did say like somebody makes something where you can short HEX, and Buck and Dylan and team did just that, except for it was on chain. So maybe he wouldn't object to people who do not follow the ethos of HEX and PulseChain shorting HEX on centralized dexes. Maybe that would fit right into his plan.
I can tell you this here, though. Like, what the exchanges love is something that is widely traded and something that's very popular, because just about every single day on my phone right here, I get a little alert from I Trust Capital saying, oh, yeah, we just added this new meme coin right here. I'm like, I Trust Capital. You guys are supposed to be like doing the retirement plans. We would think that you would only be interested in like the mega market cap coins or the blue chips and everything. But now they're constantly adding these trashy meme coins to it. Man, they added Trump coin in just like 2 days after it first started trading. So I think if there is enough price appreciation and enough demand for it, somebody's going to add it.
Yeah. But there's the implementation, like a lot of these coins are paying the bribe. So like even way back in the day, like getting listed on all these exchanges, it costs like $30,000-$40,000, something like that.
Well, those are the like nowadays. That's like the starting price, $40,000 for a centralized exchange. That's like a little one, like weird exchange you've never heard of will charge that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they do have expenses. Like there's implementation expenses, and there's also the market making, right? They have to seed the liquidity of the order book. So they have people that do that, but they want to kind of offset You know what I mean? Like it's a whole business. But yeah, they're taking in a ton of money too.
Yeah, if they believed that they were going to make money off of listing this coin, then I think that they would bend over backwards to list it. And if that means like, reducing their fees or waiving their fees to do it, I think they would do it if they truly believe they're going to make money off of this coin.
Well, that's
I
what
think
I've
we
been
have to
trying
get
do.
one first, right? Like we need one of the big ones to pick it up. I think the
Yeah.
other ones might pick it up for free after, right? Like, because they'll be like, whoa, these guys are making so much money on their HEX futures. We got to do the same. Just buy it, right? And they'll understand, or we can teach them that, like, yeah, there's lots of liquidity, guys. Feel free, right? I have no objection to centralized exchanges coming on chain and buying up tokens and then hosting them on their exchange. That's if they want to do it with their own money, go to town.
Yeah. I felt like I was getting somewhere with one, and then discussions fell apart, and then now I'm currently like in discussions with another one, but I'm dealing with like lower level people trying to get back up to my contacts, and it's just like they seem open to it, but I already know what's coming. They're gonna say, okay, well, put us in touch with the devs, put us in touch with the founder, because they're going to be looking for money and they're going to be looking for the implementation. And it's like, I don't know those people and they're not going to work with you.
Do any of you guys know Britep?
I mean, I know of him.
Know who he is.
But he's got all his comments
questions
turned
about
off,
the bridge sometimes.
DMs turned off. Like,
well, that's the thing. Like, if we want to push it, we need some support of these guys, and maybe someone watch it has the contacts.
But I think it goes back to what I said about Richard. He's not interested.
Well, then it'll take a while, or just green candles to push us up, and then
there we go.
That's that.
Green candles solve a whole lot.
Green candles.
For the technical stuff, like we'd be able to, get the information that was required by the DEX. Like we need technical information about PulseChain. Sure. Like, I know a guy will work it out. But as far as like you want to speak personally with the founder, like, yeah, no, he's not taking their call.
And like the large reason we want to do this here is we just want to make the coin easier to buy. Yeah. We're not necessarily thinking that listing on an exchange is going to win the hearts and money of users already on the exchange.
Well, listen, if you get listed on a major exchange, you make a bridge irrelevant. The exchange becomes the bridge, except for people that don't trust the exchange, right? Like the people that want to stay decentralized, they still go through the bridge and pay all those fees and all that, wait the time, even though it's shorter now. But on an exchange, let's say you were in Ethereum, you'd put your Ethereum on the exchange, trade it into Tether, trade it from Tether into HEX, and take it out.
That's true, because like
which is great because most people don't know how to use wallets.
Yeah, they just the one thing I like about Coinbase. They make it very easy for you to get your money off the exchange immediately.
Right. Plus the trading fees are way cheaper than the bridge fees.
Exactly.
True. But yeah, we'll have to see. It's going to be a process. But as far as marketing goes, like I would really like to see it on one of those big five. Just even if none of us went on there and used it at all, the fact that it was on there, that would be great. If we're also like proper listing on, CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko and those things would also be useful. So if anybody has any contacts for that, that would be fantastic. Though I think they also maybe don't like Richard. Yeah. You'd think CZ and Richard would be buddies, they kind of both went through the same sort of
well, that's what I thought.
Government prosecution stuff. You think,
Richard said that he wrote him letters or some shit. And I was like, oh, maybe they like found some common ground and, went through the trauma bond together.
Maybe they did. And we don't know.
But CZ also isn't the CEO anymore. CZ's off doing his little side project, whatever.
He knows people, I'm sure. I'm sure he could push something forward. But maybe they did. Like, think of that. Like, what if CZ and Richard are actually buds? Like they're drinking champagne on a yacht right now, and
that's what I was hoping for.
Waiting to push the button, when the timing is right. That would be pretty bullish and hilarious. Also hilarious.
Well, yeah, and then we can't rush greatness. Like we'll have these perps, we'll have options, and we know people that will be available to make them. So I'll be there.
Yeah, and like we shouldn't think that or try to give the wrong impression that we need any of these exchange listings or anything to do well, or any of the gatekeeping to go away, because look what we did last time with no exchange listing and with all the gatekeeping that we had back then. And I think that the trash talk level back then was a lot higher than it is now.
Oh yeah, because it was fresh.
I remember. Yep.
Like I was on the outside looking in. I was never one of the trash talkers, but like I missed the boat on HEX. I knew about it. Like I showed people tweets from back then. I was trying to get on the email list and all that, but you guys know how Richard is. It took too long and I lost track of it and I just moved on to other things. And before I know it, HEX is at 10,000X. And I was like, oh fuck, like I was supposed to buy that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I remember, like I've been a part of the mainstream crypto Twitter since like 2016, and like I remember like the whole thing. Like Richard was actually somebody that people loved and respected, and then he came out with Bitcoin HEX and started shitting on Bitcoin, and it just pissed off all the maxis, and then they kind of started this flood campaign against him, and it just caught on and spread like wildfire amongst all mainstream crypto.
Well, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, it's up to us to push it our way, even if he's not here anymore.
Well, yeah, and that's the beauty of decentralization. Like that's the way it should be. But it doesn't hurt to have him pull him with us because he's made himself such a central figure of this.
Yeah.
He's going to do what he's going to do. Like he might show up and all the things we're talking about will be already delivered. It's totally possible.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what's going to happen. Like, I think he's got a great master plan, and all this rollout of these marketing devices and all that, like he's been gearing up for this, waiting to beat the SEC and just come out swinging. But he's waiting for the proper time because he understands the market cycle, and technically we should be peaking somewhere soon with the rest of the market. So like, I mean, I've been banking on that myself, so it wouldn't surprise me if he was trying to align with that as well.
You think the top comes this year?
It's supposed to. I mean, based off, like, I go off prior data, right? Like, it's not a guarantee of anything, but you know, history often repeats itself, rhymes. So if you look at all the past post-halving cycles of Bitcoin, when Bitcoin controls essentially the entire market, we're entering the zone right now where shit got crazy and it topped almost every cycle. I did a whole thing of the averages from the halving date to the top of the bull market on Bitcoin, and I think it was something like 500 some days. So it's like the following calendar year after the halving, sometime in like Q4.
Well, I'm thinking we got to wait for that money printer to get turned on.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's obviously going to be like economic forces that will be different in different bull markets, but I can only go off the data from the charts. You know what I mean? Like it's a loose roadmap.
Yeah. The Bitcoin top is not the altcoin top necessarily either, right? Like there could be some time, like
it's like a delay.
Bitcoin
you get about 2-3 weeks out.
Yeah, it takes a while because all the money kind of flows, right? Like it's cycles. So it'll go from Bitcoin, those profits get taken, they go into ETH, and then the ETH profits get taken and they go into mid caps, and it just kind of trickles down. Like that's how it's happened in the past, you know. Like I don't know, because now people are a little more intelligent to how these cycles work. So a lot of times some of these things are priced in, or like they might jump into ETH sooner than they would have in the past. Like it's really hard to predict, but we do have prior bull markets that we can look at and kind of extrapolate what we think potentially could happen.
And also, like, whatever people think. Go ahead, Fast.
No, go ahead and finish your point, and then I want to hit a couple of the questions in the chat here.
What I also say is like whatever like the consensus of people think is going to happen, usually it's the opposite of what happens because we thought, going into 2025, we were just going to have a euphoric year. And I guess since everybody anticipated that, it didn't come true. And you got to think of like the contrarian play. It seems to like always be the thing that works out in the end because we certainly did not expect Ethereum to be below its previous all-time high right now, third quarter of the fourth year of the cycle, if you're going by a 4-year cycle schedule.
Fair enough. So I see one comment from C3 Works here, who I know has worked with traditional futures markets and things like that. He says, for Rodrigo, options have their place for institutions for sure, but how do we prevent professionals from fleecing the community who don't have access to the critical options pricing models?
Well, it's market makers that do the options. So most options nowadays in altcoins are done OTC. So you either onboard as an institution or you onboard as a high net worth individual. So yes, it would be mostly for larger players.
Yeah.
But you can also help larger players don't nuke their bags and hurt the price chart. Right. It largely is most for larger players to generate yield without hurting the chart, which is what we need.
Okay.
Like
so you're saying it would just be player versus player with these big guys, and the community in general would not be involved?
Well, the large players would be, but one or two whales can hurt the price way more than 50 smaller guys. And we see it like now. Like one big guy sells $1 million and the price drops 10%. Imagine if that guy could protect himself with options. Like he would just not sell. It's also a matter of teaching them how to use the tools. In reality, it's just a tool. It's not trading. It's building for it.
Fair enough. We have a pretty sharp community. I imagine there'll be some bigger players that could learn that properly. But what about this pricing models thing that C3 is talking about?
Let me finish with this real quick. Like, I'm calling out the larger whales out here because we don't need to list the richer tokens. There's a token out there that has a lot of liquidity. It's actually the most liquid one on chain other than Richard's. So if we could actually get that listed on any exchange or as a perpetual, the whole game would change. You could even create options for that token, and we all know which one it is. And if he's already providing more than $10 million of liquidity, I don't think a few $100,000 of a listing fee would affect it that much.
Well, not
and
all
it's also
created equal.
And it's also a casino token. So why not gamble with leverage? Like that's available out there.
Yeah, we don't want to see, as a community, we have to be careful what we, really recommend to the regular Joe coming into crypto. And most people should not touch leverage. Most people who do touch leverage should not touch leverage. Most people who think they're professional should not touch leverage. Like, so there's really a very select few that we want, playing that game. So it's just like, it's a difficult stance.
But in reality, like that perpetual enables leverage, but also enables risk management with options. Like it goes both ways. It doesn't have to be all gambling.
I'm with you if you know what you're doing. And that's sort of the bottom line here. And, I do not know what I'm doing. I'd be scared.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean there's not a place for it. So I'm with you on that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great.
So when do you guys think?
I think the more the better. I think we should have everything else that every other chain has, as long as it's something that's not like outright a scam. because we're essentially building decentralized finance, right? So we want to have as many tools as possible, and there's different people that like different things. So I think they should all be catered to, and that's up to the builders and developers to determine what they think should be built.
I see it as a net positive all around right here. If we just get like more trade and volume, or just like more ways that we can play around with the HEX and PulseChain, because we get more of that volume on here, we got ourselves a very nice talking point when we're constantly appearing higher up on the list on DeFi Llama. Because like right now we're somewhere between 20 and 30. So you got all these haters that are saying, "Oh yeah, PulseChain's a dead chain." Okay. Well, I know at least 270 other chains that would love to be as dead as we are right now.
Yeah. No, Crispy and Max were just talking about it before we came on, like with pump tires and all that stuff. Like, there's a lot of money running through here, and I'm seeing people making a lot of money every day. And it's like, things like that, even for the people that disagree with them, I would hope that they're able to at least see the benefit that it has, not just because it burns PLS, but also because it's bringing volume on chain and it's bringing new users on chain because they're chasing gains. And like we always say, green candles solve a lot of problems. And I've seen a ton of them in some of these meme coins, and it may not be the coins that everybody else wants to go up, but eventually some of those profits can roll into those other coins and cause them to go up too.
Sometimes they do.
Yeah.
I think Crispy has a special marketing message that he wants to get across to the entire community. Go for it, Crispy.
Excellent.
Wow, that was great. Buy HEX. How about that?
Buy HEX.
Oh,
is that good enough?
My language. I like it.
I know.
Hey, anything else?
I enjoyed this segment pretty much. I was listening to the whole thing. It was good. I think you're going to be successful, Rodrigo. So anything I can do to help you, let's get it done.
Me too.
I tried some coconut water. DM.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, we should all do it together. I mean, that's why we're here. We're all building, so we can create it.
Now, I do want to say one thing before you close out there, Max, right? Just kind of hit this real quick.
You got like 15 minutes.
All right. So I think you guys on stream here all know this. There's this big marketing push coming up, right? So Richard Hart's been talking about this, and so I'm not part of the team, so I don't know the exact details at all. But what I did is I reverse engineered, I guess would be the right way to say it, the product selection. And the reason I did this, at first I was like, is this really a big deal or not a big deal? But then I looked at the numbers. It's a big deal. It's a real big deal. And so what I'm trying to share out to people, and I've done a couple streams on it, I'll talk about it tonight again with RG3 and some others. Basically what Richard, from his words, what he told us is he is somehow through this organization of people, right? Physical products, electronic products are being sent to people. And I think the first batch was mentioned to be like a C-van with 200,000 units, right? So would it surprise you to know that the or at least one of the number ones, or close to number one way to market through direct mail is by giving a physical gift? And it has the best numbers over anything else that gets done out there.
It makes sense.
And so he put some thought into this. His team put some thought into this. Whoever worked with him on this, they put some thought into it. And so here are some of the things that I found out. And this is what I want the audience to hear too, because I think we all need to get behind this as we go forward. I think it would be in our best interest to get behind it. And so when people are coming in, they're asking about PulseChain because they get this gift. We ought to be preparing for that. I know a lot of us are, but I mean, mentally be prepared for it and be able to really understand how big of an impact it is. So first bullet is this type of thing. When somebody gets it, people tend to keep it for 2 years or more. right? More than twice as long as anybody else, right?
Huge.
Anything else, right? Because they see it as a gift. They got it in the mail. It was a gift. That's number one. Number two, 83% of the people remember because they got this physical gift. They remember like day over day over day what the brand is, you know, particularly if it's something that sits on your desk, right? Or in your kitchen or the kitchen table. So they're gonna keep it for a couple of years. They're gonna remember that they've done it. And then when you talk about marketing touches, the estimate is each one of these will have 1,000 touches, meaning the person will see the brand 1,000 times a year. 1,000 times, right? These are the numbers that are behind this approach, right? And then probably the next thing that's probably most important about this is network effect. Another 80, you know, doing the measurement, another question they ask people in these detailed, you know, analysis of marketing, 80% of the people that say that they tell somebody else about it when they get it. That's how excited they are about things. You know, so you have this marketing campaign coming up where likely, you know, figure 2 people a household, 400,000 people are going to see HEX and PulseChain or PulseChain and HEX, right? They're going to remember the brand. They're going to keep the item in their house for 2 years, and they're going to tell other people about it. So I don't know how that could be any more bullish. And even if they didn't need the product anymore, they're probably going to give it to somebody else in the household who's going to keep it. So that's I'm just laying out those facts for what's happening with this. I got pretty bullish after I read all
bullish.
This.
Bullish. In terms of direct mail, I think it's probably the highest converting you could get outside of like handwritten letter.
Making it a gift rather than like, you know, a postcard, like it'll be a physical object with a little bit of weight to it that has, we know it has batteries, like that'll change the math dramatically.
Yeah. And I know for a fact that this is a very large scale operation. I've been talking to 2 people that are boots on the ground, literally making this happen. And, you know, they're basically dedicating their life to it right now.
Can I get a konnichiwa for boots on the ground?
Konnichiwa!
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, honestly, when I first heard it, I didn't know what to think. You know, when I first heard it, we're gonna, you know, we was doing this direct mail, going to send some sort of electronic gift out to people. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know whether it was good or bad. I have a little bit of exposure to marketing, but once I started doing the research, I realized just why he's so excited about it, and he's not blowing smoke. This is going to be, this has the potential to be off the hook. A company that did this was a very, very similar thing. Dropbox. You guys know Dropbox? You ever heard of Dropbox?
Yep.
Yeah. Right? Dropbox. They're not as big now because we all have cloud storage. But there was a time when we didn't have cloud storage. It was like a big thing. And Dropbox, they sent gifts like this out to prospective clients. They 40x'd their base just on that campaign. That's how they attributed to 40x.
I mean, for people listening, like something smaller that you could think of that's similar to this, like I know every time I go to my bank, I end up with a pen, and I use my bank's pens most days out of my life, and I see them every day. Like obviously they're already in my brain because that's my bank, but if it wasn't something that I was already aware of, now you have this physical object, and these objects that he's sending are going to be much cooler than pens, apparently.
Pens are pretty cool too.
Yeah, pens are cool.
Dude, what's better than a good pen?
Do you guys speculate that
they're pretty good, right? Right. Go ahead, Rodrigo.
Have you guys thought about releasing these devices while simultaneously a new wallet? Potentially.
That's what I said initially, but a lot of people commented and made me realize that that's probably not it, because the OPSEC, and it's just not safe. And nobody's going to trust
that. About hardware wallet, are you? Do you mean like releasing Richard Hart on-chain wallet at the same time as devices. That could be a thing.
Maybe a hard wallet, but I mean, the hardware wallet he could give out would be amazing. Imagine if he gives out like $50 and then just uses the 4,000 Ethereum he sold a little bit ago and pump it up.
Yeah, but the giving people a hardware wallet is not like a safe way to get a hardware wallet. Like, it's just too off base for, the safety that he would preach, in my opinion.
But then what could be in these devices?
This is what I'm thinking it is that Max is showing. Maybe it's a phone with one of these.
I mean, I think on the software side, I'm not sure, I would just, what I've talked about a couple months ago was just creating a super app. Like, what's the next Richard Hart product to launch? I hope that it's a super app. I hope that it's some sort of like more than a wallet. It's a wallet, but it's got a whole bunch of stuff built into it. And I mean, what if the electronic device or whatever it is there's a link, a QR code or something to download an app and go, get on the PulseChain via that way like that. That's something I've talked about before that I thought was interesting. If we don't see it with mega marketing, maybe we'll see it at some point. But super app to me, vertical integration, it always made a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, it could be soon, right? Like, what's the expected date? That
2 weeks.
We don't have expectations here. 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks.
Yeah.
2 more weeks.
Well,
I think it'll be soon. From the dates that we had for shipping containers, the publicly given out stuff was like there were boats in the water, with these things on the way. It takes like 3 weeks to cross the ocean. Like
I know somebody that is right now handling these things, getting them ready to go. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know what the date is.
To the blockchain to Richard?
Is the Richard in the room with us right now?
Is Richard in the room with us?
Good chance he's watching.
Okay, yeah. I hope so. If you are Richard, shout out to you. You're awesome. You please don't do any more work for us. Let the community do this. I really want the community to do this. I want the community to get this done. You do the work. That's the most powerful 4 words I've heard in crypto, maybe my entire life. You do the work. And it's so empowering. And so like, you don't have to wait around someone else to do it. You go do it. That's what I took to work. By the way, look at Richard here.
That's why we're going to build the options. We just need to
build the options, take over Ethereum. Look at old Vitalik. Look at him. He doesn't want to win anymore. He just wants to work on the tech. Let us do the price performance, bro. Let's do the 14,000X. Let's go. Why can't we? Where's the price god? I'm looking around. I don't see any price god saying we can't do another 10,000X. I don't see him.
It's all very disturbing.
Somebody animated it.
The only thing we need is the picture of the green candles next to the large chair. You know that?
I'm familiar with the meme.
Do you guys ever look in the YouTube comments and try to guess which one of those people without a face is actually Richard?
He's definitely around.
I think Johnny Chaos is Richard.
That would be.
I've seen Johnny Chaos. I'm pretty sure he's not. But some, it's like of the nameless, faceless people on here, maybe one of them's Richard.
What if Johnny Chaos is an autonomous humanoid that Richard sent to make you think he's Johnny Chaos?
Johnny Dow.
Possible.
From the future.
Terminator. I gotta do some more Terminator memes now. I had one. Let me see. We'll be able to find out this one. Gents, what do you want to wrap us up on? What's good? What do you like that's going on in the Hexaco? What are you bullish on? 10,000X. Already went up in 2 years. Pretty good. Hex.com. It's pretty good.
Well, anybody got an idea of like what you think is going to be the most telling top sign? Like when the top's finally in, like what's going to be the sign that we're all going to look back on and be like, oh, that should have been obvious.
In the past, it's usually celebrities and when people are just doing absolutely ridiculous stuff with their money.
Yeah, like last time I remember exactly what had happened. It's like this Instagram thought influencer was using Ethereum to pay for her Brazilian booty lift. Like, okay, yeah. You're using Ethereum to pay for your BBL.
Tom
That's clearly
Brady
a
and
top
Matt
scale.
Damon in commercials, and all the stadiums started getting named after crypto, and it was like,
when
okay.
when Beyonce does a step-by-step tutorial on how to use Hex, that's when I'm like, all right,
There you
all right,
go.
kids. maybe the wall's going up. Maybe the liquidity position. It's time to take some profits. Beyonce.
There will be signs.
Might be like a meme coin ETF or something.
I feel like that'll happen.
Fart coin ETF.
Yeah, well, there's already
Fart
talks
coin
about
ETF.
Trump coin ETFs, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, definitely.
This time could be different, boys.
I hope so. What if it's the end of cycles?
There you go. That's the one.
There we go. It's never coming down. That's
when everybody agrees it's the end of cycles. It's never coming down. Then
here's the top. Here's the top. When Cairo makes a video that he has no more bears to destroy, there's none left.
That's true. Like that is officially like when the bear market happens is when the last bear turns bullish. We are officially in a bear market.
When P-Dye hits $1, it might be the sign. I did say
It's
when,
the sign of
when
the
it.
apocalypse.
I said when it hits $1, not if.
I like it when every Hexagon has a Lambo. Maybe the number of Lambo picks per day you see on X, maybe that's an indicator. We'll be tracking that chart. Oh god, Pump-A-Mental Green. That's all I gotta say, gents. Stack panel. As I said, I predicted every panel. I say it's a stack panel, and you guys come in, guns a-blazing, saying smart stuff, looking all strong, and you get it done. So I appreciate you all, and come back tomorrow if you'd like to do more paneling or talks if you're scheduled as well.
Great panel.
Listen to the guys with the
Thank
backwards
you, RHMax.
bandanas.
Thanks for doing this, Max.
Of course. Somebody's got to do it, and hope all of you start doing your own conferences and events too. Please, everyone, every speaker of this panel has the power in their hands. If you got a computer and you know how to talk to people and send StreamYard links to do schedules, you know it's a lot of work. But if you want to do it, you can do it.
Hard.
It is.
How about you do it and I show up sporadically?
Ask me at the end of each day if it's hard or not. Ask me at the beginning and I'll tell you, and ask me at the end. I'm like, my body's ready for tomorrow. I'll say that, but I need to get some sleep before that.